This is the problem with a guy like Kash Patel. Rather than saying, I'm new at this and I jumped the gun a little bit, but here's the good news, we caught him. No apologies. He's making it sound like it's about transparency. The only reason it happened in record time is because the guy's dad turned him in. He's lying about what he said. Kash Patel may be on the way out, and it may be time. I was very critical of the FBI Director Kash Patel last week. First, before the killer of Charlie Kirk was arrested, questioning A, why he falsely claimed that they had the suspect in custody when they didn't. And then B, going to Utah to show up at a press conference when anyone who works in law enforcement, particularly at the federal level, will tell you how disruptive that is if the director actually comes during an investigation because it diverts resources. C, a New York Times article that talked about how he was yelling at people and screaming. And now D, we learned that he was actually at a fancy restaurant called Rayo's the night that he was sending out the inaccurate information. Now, the good news is they got the guy, but it had nothing to do with Kash Patel. In fact, it was almost in spite of Kash Patel that they caught him. It was because the dad of the alleged killer turned his son in, pressured him, forced him to turn himself in. Okay? But here's what Kash Patel is now saying. He's saying he has no regrets. This is the problem with a guy like Kash Patel. Rather than saying, you know what, yeah, I'm new at this and I jumped the gun a little bit, but here's the good news, we caught him. No apologies. He's making it sound like it's about transparency. Let me be clear. Let me read you what he wrote before I play you what he said today. He said, the subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. That's what he said. He didn't say we're interviewing. He said they have him in custody. So now today he's trying to cover for himself and somehow claim that he said something different. This is Kash Patel on Fox and Friends this morning.
There is no one at the FBI that's going to politicize this investigation. There's no one at Quantico or anywhere else that is going to say we are not looking at X or Y. We are looking at the facts, and that is why we are releasing the facts in record fashion. If you go back and look at historical cases like Luigi Mangione and the Boston bombing, how long did it take the Bureau to release information to the public? We're not doing that. Those two manhunts took 5 days, and they happened in downtown major metropolises. We apprehended our suspect in 33 hours because we were transparent and open with the American public, and we're going to continue to do that. So anyone that thinks that the FBI is not on top of its game and that me and the deputy and everybody in leadership in our Salt Lake City field office in Quantico is doing anything politically, I'm not having it.
No one is suggesting that the FBI wasn't on their game. At least no one reasonable. Certainly no one pro-law enforcement like me. That's not what we're talking about. Look at the way he tries to intertwine himself with the FBI agents. The criticism was of him. And he goes on very defensively to be claiming it's record time. The only reason it happened in record time is because the guy's dad turned him in. Come on. Stop pretending as if like Kash Patel's hard work while he was at Rayo's the night before somehow led to this capture.
As I stated, I was being transparent with working with the public on our findings as I had them. I stated in that message that we had a subject and that we were going to interview him, and we did, and he was released. The job of the FBI is not just to manhunt the actual suspect who did the killing or suspects, but it's also to eliminate targets and eliminate subjects who are not involved in the process, and that's what we were doing. Could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not. I was telling the world what the FBI was doing as we were doing, and I'm continuing to do that, and I challenge anyone out there to find a director that has been more transparent and more willing to work the media on high-profile cases or any case the FBI is handling.
That's the new standard, is how willing is the FBI director to disclose information about ongoing investigations? He's lying about what he said. He said the subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. He didn't say they were questioning him. He said he's in custody. And he said the subject is now in custody. Again, like I've never thought Kash Patel was qualified for this job, but I wouldn't be picking on him right after they got a quick arrest, if he wasn't trying to take credit for this on a personal level, showing up at the press conference, thanking Trump and J.D. Vance for the additional resources. The guy's dad turned him in. Let's be honest about this. And so there is a very, very deep Fox News report that is seemingly bad news for Patel. Now, I don't know what's going to end up happening, but the former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who many believed was Trump's top pick to lead the FBI, is now being sworn into a new power-sharing role with Dan Bongino. And this is a quote from a source to Fox News. So this is not a random place. People who get a story in Fox News have access. The White House, Bondi, Blanche have no confidence in Kash, one source with knowledge of ongoing personnel discussions said. Pam in particular can't stand him. Allies of President Trump and Patel's harshest critics have begun to circulate word that contingency plans for Patel's ouster are forming. They also claim his hopeful successor, Andrew Bailey, made clear that he would not leave his post as Missouri AG or abandon his aspirations to run for state governor, only to serve as Patel's number two. Again, the White House is denying this, as they have to. But according to Patel's purported off-ramp, which the White House denies, would not involve his firing, but a reassignment to another administration role, according to multiple people who described it. He'd get Billy Longed, one person said, less than 2 months after his Senate confirmation. Recent former IRS Commissioner Billy Long was nominated to become the next U.S. ambassador to Iceland. Bailey said in a statement to Fox, any suggestion that I was brought in to replace anyone in leadership at the FBI or spin my appointment into a sign of division is simply false. I'm honored to serve the FBI and Department of Justice as we work together to keep our nation safe. But the article goes on to talk about some of the missteps by Patel, including the field appearance from the FBI director, which current and former agents say can grind time-sensitive field work to a halt, followed Patel's hasty announcement on social media Wednesday that the subject took the life of Charlie Kirk, is now in custody. That news came as an apparent surprise to local authorities about to deliver an updated and televised briefing. Quote, total amateur hour, one federal official said of the incident. And then they talk about also an ongoing litigation that was filed by former high-ranking FBI officials accusing the DOJ of unlawfully firing them. The larger concern, according to those familiar with litigation, is Patel allegedly wielded authority belonging solely to the president, which was a misstep. Either way, quote, either way, it's bad. Kash cannot exercise the powers of the president, and the president can't fire these officials, a source with direct knowledge of the lawsuit said. A senior law enforcement official said the administration could very well lose in court, and it will be because of Kash's big mouth making the president look like an ass. This is a Fox News report, okay? White House is denying these reports, but Kash Patel may be on the way out, and it may be time.